I'm Mike Keith with Amy Wells, welcoming you to the BetMGM studio.
On this week's edition of Titans All Access, with the Titans headed to Jacksonville, we will preview Sunday's AFC South matchup, and we'll go beneath the surface to let you experience the most emotional of all our Jacksonville trips. Kenneth Murray is this week's Nissan Insider. We spent the holiday week enjoying some sweet treats in Tracy City, and we visit with Titans head coach Brian Callahan.
Our segments with Coach Callahan are known as Callys Corner, presented by SeatGeek.
Tyjae Spears, 15 total touches in the game, had 66 yards and 2 touchdowns from scrimmage, but really, most notably, the kick return game. I mean, the 42-yard kickoff return. In watching the tape, was he close to busting it?
Yeah, he was. He was really close. We had to finish one more block there. That would have helped him have a little bit more space because the kicker was the one that kind of squeezed it down, and then the guy made the tackle. But had we had a little bit better block on the retrace, and he would have maybe had a little more space to make the kicker miss and make a cut. He kind of didn't have a place to go. He kind of hit it, and he just kind of got bottlenecked in there. But if we had a little bit better finish on the one block, he would have had more space to make the kicker miss and then potentially take it to the house. And I mean, Julius Chestnut almost blocked that punt. I mean, it was like I thought he had it. I thought we were going to block punt to go tie the game, and we're so close to making a game-changing play on special teams. The 42-yard return, they were right there to block the kick, and now we just got to. That 42-yard return's got to be a touchdown, and that almost block has to be a block, and now you got something where your special teams now is really affecting the game in a positive manner. I think the way our special teams has played probably since like week 9, week 10, they've been fantastic. I mean, they really have. They've covered kicks. They've covered punts. I mean, they've down a ball at the 1. I mean, that's a game-changing play.
Coach, with it being Christmas week, the schedule is a little adjusted. But you've seen Jacksonville 3 weeks ago. So does that make it a little bit easier to prepare this week?
Yeah, it's an opponent that we know. We both know each other well. They know us, we know them. And there's not a lot of film in between. So there's, and everybody adapts and changes by game. And there's some things that maybe they've done a little more of over the last 3 weeks, or maybe they've played this coverage a little more. It just, there's changes, but it's not dramatic. And we know, the players, the scheme, what they're trying to get done. So yeah, it does the game planning process. Generally, when you're playing a team for the second time, especially in such short succession, is a lot easier just from a volume standpoint. There's not that much tape to watch, and you got a bunch of plays from the last time maybe you didn't call that you like that carry over to the next plan. So it makes it a little easier.
So how much time do you spend on that December 8th matchup?
I'll go back and watch it again. And different than, you're watching a game afterwards, kind of evaluating how people played and what you did, how you did this, that, and the other. When you get to this point now, it becomes just part of you're now watching that defense again. Different. You're watching more of the scheme, and you're watching the players, and you're watching how they played you and how they played your players. It's just kind of just flip your perspective from how did we play offensively to now how do they fit in with the other 4-game breakdown? How did they play us versus other people? All those things.
When Titans All Access continues, linebacker Kenneth Murray joins us for this week's Nissan Insider.
It's time for the decision of the week, presented by Hughes & Coleman. The Titans' decision to hire Frank Bush was applauded when it was announced, and that approval has certainly been justified during the 2024 season. Linebackers new to the Titans system have played well in a variety of roles, and younger players have shown steady improvement and great promise. Frank Bush has always been considered one of the best linebacker coaches in the game.
Remember, if 17 is on the ball, expect some kind of pass.
And he's shown it again this season with the Titans.
But then you got to take care of the quarterback. Remember what we saw. Yep.
That's the decision of the week, sponsored by Hughes & Coleman, official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans.
Titans All Access continues with our Nissan Insider. It's linebacker Kenneth Murray. Kenneth, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Why does your skill set fit so well with this defense?
I just think, what they asked us to do, specifically linebackers, just, fits my skill set. Getting downhill, playing a run, and then in the pass game, packing the hashes, stuff like that, being able to, pack in on those route concepts. I just feel like, overall, it fits my, what I like to do, get downhill, and then, we're a heavy pressure team. We bring a lot of pressure, and I think that allows me to just play free and go out there and just be on attack mode.
What's it like playing behind Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat?
It's a blessing. That's probably the best way I can describe it, man. Those two dudes are monsters up front, and I don't take those two dudes for granted. Jeff playing the 3 and then Sweat playing the nose. They keep the big boys up off me, allow me to run and hit, and then they clog up the middle. And so it's honestly like what I said before. It's just a blessing to have those two monsters in front of me.
But that's something that people really don't know about Jeffrey Simmons in particular. Is okay, he's got tackles and he's got sacks and he's got pressures, but what he does to help other people around him, it doesn't get noticed as much, does it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he, every time he lined up, he's pretty much getting the slide every time. So when I say get the slide, that usually means he's having 4 hands on him. So it's gonna be 2 people on him at all times. And so that allows other things to open up for other people. It allows our scheme to open up with the picks and stuff like that, being able to pick off of him and being able to pick other people and take advantage of the protections. But in the run game, they're always trying to double him, and then that also frees it up for me to be able to go out there and shoot a gap and get a TFL. So Big Jeff is definitely somebody that's one of the best in the league, and I'm elated to have him as my teammate.
Now Jeffrey Simmons is Jeffrey Simmons, but have you ever played behind a guy like T'Vondre Sweat?
Nah, man, it's pretty unique, man. Not too many people move him. I mean, nobody moves him. So, Big Sweat, man, he's been playing his butt off this whole year. I love playing behind him. And like I said before, nobody moves him. So, I pretty much guarantee when they get the double, they're gonna stay right there. And then it's my job to come down and get him up off him. So.
All right, Kenneth, you are not an old guy by any stretch of the imagination, but you got some young fellas who are now getting a chance to play some. Obviously, James Williams has shown up on special teams. Cedric Gray is now coming alive. Otis Reese is starting to play more. What do you think of that young group of players, and what are you trying to do to help bring them along?
No, yeah, man, they definitely are a special group. They've been working their butts off, and now they're getting the opportunity to go out there and put it on tape. And I think, as far as, the young guys, what we're trying to get done is just, them being a pro, coming in every day, just, doing the little things right, and then, understanding that, there's no drop off whenever you get in the game. And so, I think they understand the seriousness of it, and they take that upon themselves to be able to go out there and execute. And, whenever the opportunity is here, they capitalize on it.
Kenneth Murray, thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem.
We've got more Titans All Access coming your way right after this. Welcome back to Titans All Access from the BetMGM studio.
Our Follow Me Through Tennessee series is designed to introduce you to great Titans fans throughout the state who also offer some great things to eat. And right in the middle of the holidays, we had to find a place with the sweetest of sweet treats.
We found that place about halfway between Nashville and Chattanooga. Follow me through Tennessee to a wonderful bakery presented by Grayline, Tennessee.
Okay, so here's a picture of the storefront in 1908. You can see this is John and Louise, and these are 2 of their children.
If Dutch Maid Bakery is the oldest bakery in Tennessee, there has to be a strong backstory, and there is.
My name is Cindy Day. I'm the 3rd owner of the Dutch Maid Bakery in 120 years, which is really way cool. Wow. The original owners were John and Louise Bagenstosh, who came here from Switzerland in 1880. They had 6 boys. They started the bakery in 1902. Originally, the bakery was 2-story. They lived upstairs and they worked downstairs. So they made all different kinds of breads even back then. They made the salt rise and the sourdough and the whole wheat, all those kinds of breads that we still make to this very day, which is really cool.
Like that?
Oh, that's good. Isn't it good?
A funny thing happened one day when Cindy Day took a drive from Tampa to Tracy City and saw the closed Dutch Maid Bakery.
So in 1992, the youngest of all the boys, Albert, passed away. By this time, Fritz, the middle boy, had already passed away, and one of the other brothers, John, had already passed away. So when he died, the 2 boys, Herman and Robert, looked at each other, and they were in their early 90s. And they said, do you think we should sell the place? And the one said, yes, I think we should. So they sold it to a man by the name of Mr. Lynn Craig. So he did a good job of keeping it from 1992 till 2002. 2002, he passed away. So it ended up closing for 18 months. At that time, I was living in Tampa, and I'd come to check on our property that we own here in Tracy City, and I saw a great big for sale sign go into auction in the front window. And I said, oh, well, how hard could it be to run a bakery anyway? I'm gonna buy that. And it was a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be because I didn't realize all these things are made from scratch.
The secret remains in the kitchen, or should I say, secrets.
And then when I bought all the cookbooks that came with the bakery, there was like 12 volumes of cookbooks.
You got to buy the recipe.
Had to buy the recipes. A lot of them were handwritten, and I do all the same things that they did. Like that sign right there, the one that says rye, chuck wagon, salt rise, that sign is actually from the 1940s. And we still make all those same breads that they made back then. I had a man came through the door one day and said, I used to buy every one of my employees Tennessee whiskey cake. Where's your whiskey cake?
Oh.
And I said, I don't know. He said, I used to buy 250 every Christmas. I said, don't you worry, I'll find it.
Holy smokes.
You like it?
That is so good.
People are going to be lining up to get this.
Yes.
Yes. Jack Daniel himself was involved in how they were originally made.
One thing that I found out in all of the things that I've read, the memorabilia, all like that, is that Mr. Jack Daniels and Mr. Bagenstosh were best friends. The original guy that started the bakery in 1902, him and Mr. Jack Daniels were best friends, and that's how come they started making Tennessee whiskey cake.
We were there with Rhett Bryan and Coach Dave McGinnis. Amy and I talked a lot of Titans football with employees, but admittedly, we were distracted by the wonderful smells and the assortment of goodies. Coach Mack attempted to purchase every cookie that they had.
I've already eaten 2 oatmeal. Okay.
Cindy Day and her staff were already making plans for Christmas back then, knowing how many moonshine cakes and fruit cakes they would be shipping all over the country. There was little stress because, as Amy likes to say, could you have a bad day if you got to make goodies like that? Dutch Maid Bakery in Tracy City might not be billed as the happiest place on earth, but it just might be.
Later in Titans All Access, we preview Tennessee at Jacksonville, but up next, the most emotional Titans-Jaguars game of all time. You don't want to miss it.
Since September 11th, 2001, the Tunnels to Towers Foundation has been helping America's heroes by providing mortgage-free homes to Gold Star and fallen first responder families with young children, and by building specially adapted smart homes for catastrophically injured veterans and first responders. Tunnels to Towers uses their platform to share stories of connection, even involving sports. The Titans' trip to Jacksonville on September 23, 2001, provided one of those stories.
So about 8:30, I get a phone call from my daughter. And she says, Dad, do you know what's going on? Now I go from somebody totally unaware to eventually the puzzle's starting to come together. I have a son in that second tower.
Tim Coughlin, at that point, 29 years old, worked for Morgan Stanley, was in Tower 2.
He is located on the 60th floor of the second tower. And I don't know anything about anything because no one in my family can get a hold of my son. I can't get through, I can't get through, I can't get through.
I remember hearing that Tom Coughlin's son was unaccounted for. And that just kind of ripped my heart out.
And then we see the second tower take the hit.
For 45 minutes, Tom and his late wife did not know the fate of Tim.
I get him when he's on the first floor. I finally get him. And I'm saying, Tim, you all right? We're moving, Dad. I'm trying to be as calm as I can, but Tim, you get as far away from there as you possibly can. Only by the grace of God, the Holy Spirit took my son by the hand and walked him out of there. But there are so many that that's not the outcome, and our hearts pour out to all of them.
Back at Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville prior to
The Jacksonville
kickoff,
Jaguars are the
sideline
Tennessee Titans' biggest rivals, and vice versa.
During those 3 hours and 15 minutes, it wasn't pretty.
You know, it was a fist fight with helmets on.
The meetings between Tom Coughlin and Jeff Fisher after any game, regardless of the outcome, were very brief.
Oh, it was a classic stick your hand out but turn your head away.
Yeah, very brief, professional.
Yeah, sorry, enjoy the ride home after that.
There was just no connection in any way, shape, or form.
The Jaguars win the toss, elected.
Our first game back was September 23rd, 2001, in Jacksonville, Florida, against the Jaguars.
It was game day, you know. It was game day.
It was more about, okay, we're here to help. Come embrace this thing that we do on Sundays and get your mind off it.
Well, the final score is 13-6 Jaguars.
Game was over, and I found Coach.
Jeff Fisher hugged Tom Coughlin.
I don't know if I was ready for it.
In that moment, there were two dads.
There was two fathers, yeah.
And he knew what I had gone through, thinking about what it would have been like for him. It wasn't a lot of verbiage. It was a hug. It was a hug. It was a hug that said, hey, I'm there for you. I'm compassionate about it.
Not that we had lost perspective. We were competing together, and that all those things are out. You know, they don't count anymore. You know, we know what really counts.
How's Tim doing today?
He's doing well. You know, he's done remarkably well with it. And every 9/11, I call, tell him how much I love him, and tell him that God saved him for a reason. And one of the reasons that I personally, and I know my son, has such unbelievable respect for the firemen, okay? Tim is on his way down in the second tower. They're going up.
And although our foundation was born out of tragedy, we know there is more goodness in this world than evil. And when we come together as Americans, we can be the conduits of this goodness.
I'm so thankful that organizations like this don't let us forget.
If we ever forget, we are, I don't care how many years go by. You can't forget.
And I'm not alone. I'm speaking on behalf of Tunnel to Towers. We got to build more, and they can get bigger, and they can take care of more, because there's just so much need out there.
You're supposed to take each day as a gift. You're supposed to enjoy each day. You're supposed to, and boy, the day that I got my son back was a day that Judy and I, that was a good day.
The Titans head to Jacksonville this weekend to meet the Jags for the second time in 3 weeks. This week's AFC South Rewind is short and sweet. The Titans were in control for the first 45 minutes of the game, but led only 6-0 heading into the fourth quarter. In spite of 2 big interceptions and excellent running by Tony Pollard, missed scoring chances kept the Titans from expanding their lead. That proved fatal as the Jaguars scored 10 in the fourth quarter and escaped Nashville with a 4-point win. Mike,
yes.
Give us your keys to the Titans extracting a measure of revenge this weekend in Jacksonville.
Well, certainly. Key number 1, run the football. The Titans did run the football well against the Jaguars on December 8th, and that had Tennessee in control of the game. While Tennessee didn't finish the job that day, the run game surely was not the issue. Fine place to start towards offensive success in Jacksonville on Sunday. Key number 2, get the Jaguars in 3rd and 5 yards plus. With tight end Evan Ingram out for the season with a shoulder injury, Jacksonville's best run after the catch weapon is not available. if quarterback Mac Jones has to hold the football to wait on receivers to come open on those 3rd and 5+ plays, chances for more sacks and interceptions increase. Tennessee must make the Jags face tough 3rd down situations this weekend. Key number 3, played the same game, only better. The loss to Jacksonville on December 8th was the first time in franchise history that the Titans have lost a game when they've been +2 in turnover ratio and limited the opposition to just 10 points. That won't happen again. So win the turnover ratio, hold the Jags to around 10 points, but this time, take better advantage of opportunities to score touchdowns. If the Titans do that this Sunday, history shows us Tennessee will not lose.
Mike Keith, are you ready to go to Jacksonville?
I certainly am.
You seem fired up.
I'm fired up. Titans Jags for you from Jacksonville this Sunday. Airtime on all of our Titans radio stations, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. That's for Titans Countdown. Kickoff set for 12:02 Central. Tennessee at Jacksonville this Sunday on Titans Radio. For Amy Wells, I'm Mike Keith. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.